silence isn't just the absence of sound, but the sustained echo of something profound and irrevocably lost. We stand at the edge of the Tarim Basin, a place where the air itself seems to hold a memory that shouldn't be here. This is a story etched in forgotten scripts and haunting murals, deep within the Kizil Caves. It's the spectral resonance of a people who simply vanished. Indo-European speakers, blonde hair and blue eyes, existing at the very crossroads of what we understood as ancient East and West. They are the Tocharians, and their legacy isn't just a historical curiosity. It's a direct challenge to our perception of what a civilization leaves behind when it ceases to be. We're not looking at ruins today. We're sifting through fragmented transmissions from a ghost signal. My investigation is to piece together their existence from these sparse, unsettling clues. What kind of signal are we even trying to pick up when the transmitter has been offline for a millennium?
The initial discovery was frankly anomalous. By the late 19th and early 20th centuries, European expeditions, Lecoq, Stein, Pelliot, began unearthing artifacts from Xinjiang in what is now modern-day China. The Kizil Caves in particular presented a bewildering visual paradox. We encountered extensive Buddhist cave complexes, a common feature along the Silk Road, but the frescoes, they weren't purely Indian or Chinese in style. They depicted individuals with light hair, fair skin, prominent noses, some with distinctively European facial structures. Simultaneously, ancient manuscripts, often fragments, surfaced in sites like Kucha and Turfan. These were not Sanskrit nor Chinese. They were something entirely new. The script itself, a Brahmi derivative, was decipherable, but the language it conveyed was utterly alien to anything previously known in the region. It didn't fit into any established branch of Indo-Iranian or Altaic languages. Initial analysis, led by scholars like F.W.K. Muller, confirmed a startling truth. This was an Indo-European language, a linguistic cousin to Latin, Greek, Germanic tongues, yet geographically stranded, a dead branch hundreds of miles from its nearest known relatives. This language, later designated Tocharian, was bifurcated into two distinct dialects, Tocharian A, or Turfanian, and Tocharian B, or Kuchian. Both were inflected, complex, and clearly evolved over a significant period. The implications were immediate and profound. An Indo-European speaking populace, flourishing culturally and linguistically, deep within Central Asia, long before any historically attested European influence.
So we have fair-haired people in Buddhist murals and an Indo-European language spoken in what should have been an exclusively East Asian cultural sphere. That's the bizarre surface fact, but it quickly spirals into something stranger. Because the common explanation for any cultural anomaly along the Silk Road is usually trade. Ideas flow, goods flow, people flow. But this isn't just a transient trading post with a few foreign merchants. This is a foundational linguistic presence, sustained over centuries, maybe millennia. This isn't a trade anomaly. It's a deep-seated, deeply unsettling disconnect. It pokes holes in the very fabric of how we understood ancient Eurasia. How did they get there? And why does their language stand so isolated?
The trade hypothesis quickly falters under linguistic scrutiny. Tocharian is not a Creole. It is a fully developed independent branch of the Indo-European family. It possesses unique phonological and morphological innovations that set it apart, not as a hybrid, but as an ancient, separate evolution. Its relationship to other Indo-European branches is complex. It shows some features aligning with centum languages like Latin and Greek, yet also shares certain morphological traits with Satem languages like Sanskrit and Old Iranian. This suggests a very early divergence from the Proto-Indo-European migrations before the major centum-Satem split became fully pronounced, or perhaps an independent development. The mummified remains unearthed in the Tarim Basin, particularly those from sites like Shurchin, corroborates the visual evidence from the Kizil Caves. These naturally desiccated bodies, remarkably preserved by the arid desert conditions, date back as far as 1800 BCE. They exhibit clear Caucasoid features, prominent noses, light brown or blonde hair, and sometimes even tartan textiles identical to those found in Celtic cultures of Iron Age Europe. This isn't just a handful of individuals, it's evidence of a sustained population, a deeply rooted presence. The implication is staggering. These were not merely traders passing through. These were ancestors, a civilization that lived here for millennia, cultivating a unique identity. The Kizil Caves, dating primarily from the 3rd to 8th centuries CE, represent the zenith of this Tocharian cultural expression, a time when their identity was robust enough to translate complex Buddhist doctrines into their own distinct artistic and linguistic idiom. This wasn't assimilation, it was an absorption and re-expression.
So, we're not talking about a few wandering merchants. We're talking about a distinct people, a distinct language, and a distinct artistic tradition that developed over literally thousands of years, thousands of miles from where they should have been. They weren't just adopting Buddhism. They were making it uniquely Tocharian. This isn't just a historical anomaly. It's a profound challenge to our understanding of ancient migration and cultural influence. It forces us to confront the idea that entire branches of humanity can simply disappear from the collective record, leaving only these spectral echoes. What theories, then, even speculative ones, attempt to explain this impossible situation?
The theories surrounding Tocharian origins and their presence in the Tarim Basin are necessarily complex, relying on a synthesis of archaeology, linguistics, and increasingly genetic studies. The prevailing hypothesis connects them to the Afanasevo culture, which flourished in southern Siberia and Mongolia from around 3500 to 2500 BCE. This culture is often seen as a westward expansion of the Yamnaya culture from the Pontic-Caspian steppe, widely considered the likely homeland of Proto-Indo-European. The Afanasevo people, known for their distinctive pottery, copper tools, and Kurgan burial mounds, are geographically proximate and chronologically suitable to be the earliest ancestors of the Tocharians. Their movement would have been eastward, not a direct migration from Europe, but a spread from the broader Eurasian steppe. Another significant layer of deep lore involves the specific vocabulary preserved in Tocharian manuscripts. Beyond the religious texts, we find terms related to agriculture, animal husbandry, and even specific types of flora and fauna unique to the arid Central Asian environment. This isn't a language learned quickly. It's one deeply embedded in the local ecology, suggesting an enduring connection to the land over millennia. The Kizil Caves, specifically Cave 110, known as the Cave of the Shipwreck, depicts a scene that some interpret as the Tocharian understanding of samsara, the cycle of rebirth. But look closer at the artistic elements, the swirling patterns, the vivid color palette, the elongated figures. These aren't mere imitations of Indian Buddhist art. They possess a dynamism, an almost kinetic energy that speaks of an independent artistic tradition, a unique worldview filter through which they processed and then represented universal spiritual concepts. It's less about a classified file and more about piecing together disparate fragments of what might be called a lost file system, where each entry is incomplete. Their linguistic divergence, their early presence, and their unique cultural synthesis paint a picture of a people who developed in relative isolation for a considerable period, shielded by the formidable natural barriers of the Tian Shan and Kunlun Mountains. Their eventual adoption of Buddhism was not a replacement of identity, but an overlay onto an already robust cultural framework.
So we're building a picture of a civilization that arrived early, before the established East-West narratives, and then for millennia cultivated a unique identity, a linguistic island in a sea of other languages. The Kizil Caves are not just murals, they're manifestos. The Tocharian manuscripts aren't just ancient texts, they're the desperate last breaths of a dying language. But the most haunting question remains: where did they go? A civilization this resilient, this distinct, doesn't just evaporate. What force could silence such a vibrant cultural voice?
The decline and eventual disappearance of the Tocharians from the historical record is not a sudden, dramatic event, but rather a slow, inexorable fade. Their fate is largely attributed to the geopolitics of the Silk Road and the rise of Turkic empires in Central Asia. By the 8th and 9th centuries CE, the Uyghur Khaganate, a powerful Turkic-speaking entity, expanded into the Tarim Basin. The Uyghurs, who eventually adopted Manichaeism and later Buddhism, gradually assimilated the Tocharian populations. There's no evidence of a genocidal purge, but rather a process of linguistic and cultural absorption. As the Turkic languages became dominant, Tocharian faded from daily use. We find evidence of this linguistic transition in later Uyghur texts that sometimes incorporate Tocharian loanwords, or feature bilingual inscriptions where Tocharian is clearly the less dominant language. The Kizil Caves themselves fell into disuse or were repurposed. The vibrant figures on their walls became silent witnesses to the shift. The manuscripts, abandoned in monasteries, lay undiscovered for centuries, only resurfacing as the dust of the desert gave them up. What remains is a profound sense of incompleteness. We have a lexicon, fragments of grammar, glimpses of their spiritual life through their art, but no continuous historical narrative from their own perspective. We can reconstruct their sounds, but not their thoughts, not their fears, not their daily lives beyond what devotional texts might imply. They are a civilization known primarily through the echo of their language and the silent testament of their art. A civilization that, despite its profound cultural achievements, ultimately surrendered to the tides of linguistic and ethnic displacement. Their spectral echoes whisper of a world that once was, a world where the cultural map of Eurasia looked profoundly different.
So they didn't fall to cataclysm, but to the slow grind of assimilation. A chilling thought, perhaps, because it implies a quiet extinction, a gradual fading out of existence, rather than a violent end. The Kizil Caves, then, aren't just archaeological sites. They are monuments to cultural evaporation. Each mural a pixel in a high-resolution photograph of a ghost. The Tocharian manuscripts aren't merely ancient documents. They are the last transmissions from a frequency that has since gone dark. And the lingering implication that an entire branch of humanity, one that shaped its own unique language, its own unique art, can simply disappear. Not just from the record, but from living memory, leaving behind only these unsettling fragments. What else has vanished? What other frequencies are still active, just beyond our ability to detect them? The silence isn't empty. It's pregnant with absence, a testament to the fact that even the most vibrant civilizations can become nothing more than spectral echoes, whispering across the vast, indifferent expanse of time.